I'm not. It wasn't, the sound wasn't playing, so I'm not even going to bother trying. I'm just going to, whatever. Intro. Hi, everybody. Hi, Allie.
Hello.
I put Allie on the task. I'm like, let me know if it skips. And she's like, girl, there's no music playing at all.
I
Crap.
was like, is it my phone? Because StreamYard, sometimes you have to press it to do the sound on the intro. And I was like, wait a minute, it's not like it's if you're doing it, if the video is in your video section and they're playing from there, if you're on the panel, you have to hit the sound button, but you do yours differently. I forgot, so it wouldn't be that anyway.
But yeah, so hi everybody. We're so happy to be here. Hi Wolfie, hi Bogart, hi MK being Biogirl, Lorena, Kimmy Shore, Katrina, Diana. No, there was no music. I'm sorry. One day I'll figure this out. Hi Skadoosh. So today we are watching the second half of defense opening statements, and I don't know about you guys, but the first half was, it's so hard to listen to it, and
Yeah.
there's some major claims, dangerous claims being made that I don't know how you're supposed to go on living even the rest of your life as Casey Anthony's parents or Kaylee's grandparents, but let alone to have those accusations and that narrative out there.
Oh my gosh, you're so right. Like, how do you even go on like that? But they have, and I guess that's probably why they did that lie detector test and everything. Because my lord, some of the people do believe it. They do. That's just the truth.
Yeah.
So, I'm excited, Melissa.
I'm excited too. I'm very excited. So let me pull up. Here is our missing child for tonight's live stream. This is Alicio Geronimo Lujan. He has been missing since March 11th, 2022 out of Lincoln, Nebraska. He is 7 years old. There's an additional photo of him, and he was allegedly abducted by his mom, Nohemi Lujan Saucedo. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. On the 11th of March, 2022, and a felony warrant for custodial interference was issued for Nohemi on April 13th, 2022. Here is the abductor. Nohemi Lujan Saucedo, 40 years old. Here's an additional photo. Look at his little blue tongue.
Oh my gosh.
So if you were, I know, if you or anyone you know has information on his whereabouts, please contact the Lincoln Police Department at 1-402-441-6000. There's so many with custodial interference. So many.
Yep, it's pretty crazy. I think most of them are. What would you say? Because you go through a lot. Like, would you say majority are custodial interference, or
Yes.
taking? Okay. Wow.
Yeah, without a doubt, majority is custodial interference, but you don't want and so I do 11 and under. I'll always look for not and then if I don't find like one in that state, I'll up the age. But it's because when you put it over 11 and an overwhelming amount come up, and so when it's 11 and under, majority of them at least are custodial interference. But that doesn't mean that ATS says, I heard statistically Amber Alerts are apparent. Yeah. So it doesn't mean that there's less of a risk, honestly, when a parent is involved, a lot of times for specifically custodial interference, it's usually bad. It's usually a really bad custody case, and the danger can be high. And so don't just think, oh, well, if it's custodial interference and then they're safe, we'd like to think, but a lot of times it's in a very bad situation where the court has already intervened, and like a parent may disagree and then go on the run, and it's nerve-wracking no matter what.
Yeah, by that point the court has already said they're not safe to be around them, so
yeah, for one reason or another. It sucks.
Right.
Yeah, not safe at all. Okay, so do you want to tell them where we last left off?
Yeah, so we last left off where we started to hear from the man who discovered Kaylee's remains, and he actually went on Good Morning America, and that is right where we paused it. Jose seems to be making like some insinuations that this man moved it or was, in for the money. There's a few different things kind of flying around at this point, but that's where we are.
Yes. So defense was starting to come at, and sorry, I'm just switching because I figured out why it wasn't playing the audio. Like, it's so annoying. It's like, oh, share tab instead, or share, your entire screen. I don't want to share my entire screen. Like, stop. Don't tell me how to live my life, StreamYard. So I'm going to try to see if it'll work if I pull up this browser. Okay. Yes. Hi, Harlot. Natasha's here. Natasha, what you doing here? Go enjoy your weekend. Okay. Go enjoy. She's like a little getaway right now. Like, go enjoy your weekend. You are not allowed to be here. Okay. We want you here, but you need to unplug and get away from this channel and go watch like Hulu or Netflix or something you want to binge watch and have your comfort.
Yeah, if you're on a getaway, go enjoy yourself because Natasha, dude, you deserve it. For real.
Does. I'm like, you're off duty, ma'am.
Yeah.
There are, okay, where your brow's at. So such a funny name. So hi Jane. When I was looking on her Substack, and Allie can tell you, it's weird because like the Substack, it's like a private, you have to pay to get access to like this messenger, and on you're blocked temporarily, okay? But on this Substack in this chat feature, there were so many. We miss you too, Natasha. There were so many people I saw in there, Allie, that was like, hey, I've always believed in your innocence. I've always been on your side. I won't openly comment on your TikTok out of fear for being, targeted or being called out. But, and I was like, and like I kept scrolling and I'm like, like there was so many.
Well, dude, next time we come on here on your channel, you should grab some and bring it. I wonder how much longer I don't even know if I can still access it, but we should look at some of them like at the end or something. That'd be fun because I want to see, like, I noticed that when I first looked, there were a lot of supporters. Again, I'm not going to public comment or comment publicly. I saw that as well.
Yeah.
But I also saw a lot of people like talking junk. Is it still like that? Because I haven't looked. I don't even know if I can look, but
I haven't gone back over and looked yet.
Okay.
But I was like, okay. Bryn says, I am attended.
Hey,
I'm really excited for this. Okay, so tonight we have the second half of defense opening statement. The first half, it was overwhelming, but already we're seeing a very different language coming out in Casey's body language. Like she's communicating very different things between state's opening statements, prosecution, and defense opening statements. All throughout prosecution's opening statements, we have her head visibly shaking no. Okay, but she's not just shaking no in the parts that I would anticipate her to shake her head no, disagreeing with what they claim she's doing. But even towards the end, when they were detailing Kaylee's remains and how they were found and her death, it didn't change. It was the same shaking of her head that I saw when they accused her of being a bad mom and, oh, she wasn't worried at all. And I'm like, well, hey, if I know that she's lying when she's shaking her head, and this is like, you see her pierced lip. Oh, I did it again. Her what word is it?
Pursed.
Her pursed lips.
That's okay.
And why is it the same when they're talking? And there was no emotion, no sadness, no tears when talking about her daughter being recovered. Yet in defense opening statements, we have her head shaking, yes, and we have these tears scrolling down her face. And we just got to the part where we're talking about Kaylee being recovered. That's where we're starting off. But these tears were coming beforehand about her being the victim. oh, well, she's not accountable. Yes, she lied. Yes, she lied about everything, but she was taught to lie. She was told to lie. You never know what's going on behind closed doors. And in this home, behind these closed doors, it was a horror show. So let me tell you about how all of these lies the state is going to prove. We're not arguing them, but I'm going to explain to you why she did it and how she's the victim, but she had nothing to do with her daughter. And I'm like, okay, like she had nothing to do with her daughter's death.
Yep, man, and he's intense. Like, he's very different. We're seeing a lot of visuals already, a lot of emotion. You know, I don't know. I just wish the prosecution would have brought it a little more. You know, bring the visuals like he did. Bring the emotion. Remember that one point when he like screamed?
Yeah.
Like, what was he screaming?
He was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
but
come on.
It's good visuals because again, and even though I know Natasha said last night, she's like, I'm not seeing it. You know, I don't see what everyone's talking about yet. So maybe, I don't know, like, but me as a visual person, already it's captured my attention. And for him to pull out that measuring tape and start from the jury and walk across the courtroom and explain, because this was only a few minutes before we paused, this is where Keely's remains were found, and the distance from you guys were the side of the road, okay? And just to have that visual, to be able to have him speak and to know the distance between the road and where her body was found, that I'm intrigued now. I'm invested. I won't forget that, right? Because now it's in my head. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. I do agree with you. And I mean, we're already seeing a small part of why things were, ended up the way they did.
Can you read that super chat?
Yes, let's see. I love breakfast in Massachusetts.
Thank you. Thank you so much, FOS.
Because you want to hear you say breakfast. I love the way you say it.
And the second, they know I can't say that word. They could try to get me to do it for months, but I got Allie up here. So thank you so much. I appreciate the support. Hit the thumbs up if you already have it. And I'm honestly, like, every time I go to that state to look for a missing child and there isn't one, obviously I'm like, whew, like, luckily there isn't one, but the other half of me is like, whew, I don't have to be responsible for it either.
That's funny. No, as soon as I read it and I thought about it, I heard the way you say breakfast in my head. Like, I could just hear you, and I knew that's what it was. I think it's adorable, though. That's why people want to hear it, because it's so cute and endearing.
Well, breakfast is one thing. I can't say that. I literally cannot say it. It's just never going to happen. So tonight we're going to do the second half. Okay. And tomorrow on Allie's channel, we are going to start with opening statements. So I'm going to do an earlier well, we haven't decided about what time tomorrow, but either way, I'm going to either do an earlier or after the live. We're going to do Idaho. And then we're going to be over on Allie's channel to start witness number 1, who is
Mr. Anthony.
Yes. So George,
that's you.
That's you. I should have done a thigh roll. It would have worked better. Yeah, hippopotamus. I could say that. But I always think about Big Daddy. Hippopotamus. You got all the easy ones.
That's adorable. Yeah, I forgot about that. Emmy's been watching Big Daddy, but
they're great.
Yeah. So tomorrow,
they're coming out with a second what the hell? Happy Gilmore?
No, I didn't. Wow. It's been a minute since I've watched an Adam Sandler movie, like a new one. And also, I was going to say, like, tomorrow, just let me know what times work best for you, and we'll do it.
Yeah, like, I figured we stick around this time. So I was like, all right, we'll do an early Idaho live. That works, and we'll go right over to you or something. Doesn't matter.
Okay, yeah, that'll work.
I'm just excited to get George on the stand, and I don't remember how long, like, how I would anticipate he has a long testimony.
We'll probably have to do, like, prosecution on one, defense on the other or something,
Yeah. I'm excited.
Me too.
Draws. Okay, I get it. And I was just telling my mom this last weekend. I'm like, Mom, like, how'd you raise me? Because I never knew that I said so many words wrong until I went on the internet. And then everyone's like, what did you say? know, but everyone just speaks differently. Okay, you knock it off, MK. You're a mod. You have to hold yourself to a higher standard. Okay.
No, but dude, you have a lot of knowledge on all kinds of stuff, so it's all right. It can be forgiven
Thank you.
because, yeah,
It
you
can be
have a
forgiven.
lot.
Damn, so they don't have closed captions. You're right. They had it for state's opening statement, but not for defense. It's not with those side flaps of her. She does. She's got to bump it. I'm pretty certain. There's no other way you could get that height unless you did a little teasing action. But all I imagine is like Lori. You know, Lori had Kool-Aid lips. So to be fair, you know, like she looks better than some that we've seen.
Yeah, she does.
Pierced lips. Yeah, and I keep making that same mistake. So Rosa, I keep doing it. If by the way, if you were one of those that got gifted a Patreon last night, I will send it out by the end of this live. So don't think there's anything wrong. Just keep an eye out for it. Yeah, definitely an extra large bump it. That is the biggest poor me face I have ever seen. She's pouting, but I'm telling you,
yeah.
when it was prosecution, she had the pursed lips.
I'm telling you, she really does. Like I said the other day, like she looks like she's about to stomp her foot and just stomp off, like pouting or crying. But on the thumbnail tomorrow, I'm gonna try to add a lip piercing just for you, like a couple lip
Yay, thank
piercings.
you. Hi, cutie pie. I love your new photo. Okay, you ready?
Oh, I'm so ready. And then I've got it on the computer, so I'll be able to let you know quickly. Okay.
I already know it's gonna, but okay. I jumped back a few seconds, so we'll remember where we left off. It was the Good Morning America interview regarding the guy who found Kaylee's remains.
Yep.
Police want Mr. Kronk to stay quiet. They don't want these people getting at him. They don't want the media getting to him. So they ask him, please stay quiet. And his response is,
it's good.
Roy's got to eat too.
Fingers crossed.
Sorry, fellas.
Yeah, it sounds good to me.
So what does Orange County do?
Okay.
What does the great Orange County do? They hire him a lawyer and they pay for it. Orange County pays for a lawyer for this man to represent him. And then he becomes his media agent. And the very first interview that Mr. Kronk gives is to Good Morning America, where he licenses them a photograph of a snake. Can I have that slide, please? In exchange for this snake photograph, $15,000 and an exclusive interview with Mr. Roy Kronk, the man who found Kaylee's remains.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a snake.
Well, he gets his reward. He gets his interview. He becomes famous. But there's one thing's for certain. You can't ignore any of this. At all. In fact, one of the call from August 12th ended up landing on a detective's desk sometime around late August. And it ended up in front of a detective named Gerald White. And Gerald White will come in and tell you that once he got the tip, he went to the lead detective, Yuri Melich, and he asked him about this tip. Detective Melich looked at it and said, that area's been searched already. But yet we don't have any records of any police searches. But you're going to hear numerous people saying the police searched there. You're going to hear witnesses come and testify that they were trespassed, told to get out of that area because that area had been searched many times. Where was she? What did Kronk do with her? Why did he place her there that way? And can you trust anything this man has to say? And I would tell you, you can't. You will clearly see that you can't. The bright lights and the spotlight and the promise of fame and fortune took this man to take away all of the answers that you seek throughout this case. We would love to have more than just a photograph of the duct tape with George at Publix. We'd love to be able to tell you more and show you more, but we can't. And one thing you will know is that despite all of the ridiculous, stupid things that Casey did, that Mr. Aim Burdick told you about, there's not one piece of evidence, one single thread of evidence that links Casey to Kaylee's body.
And I'm open to what we're going to find out, because I know me and Allie were just talking privately about how I really can't even rely on my memory because it was so long ago. But when I'm thinking with what I do remember, now granted, everything's all circumstantial, but most trials are circumstantial evidence. But as far as proving how she died and linking Casey to discarding of her body, I think he's right, but I may not be remembering things.
Well, let me just say, though, about this dude, like, I'm sorry, but I do understand the reward money is a big deal, but he's so dramatic. He's like, it's not landing for me because, like, he sees his name in bright lights, and you know what I mean? It's one interview. Now, that's concerned. $15,000 for that photo.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's weird, but I don't know. He's just too dramatic. You know what I mean? It's not landing for me. Now, as far as with her disposing, I need to keep listening because I got to not watch chat or anything because I don't grasp everything that's said. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
right.
She's dumb enough to leave her on the corner, but smart enough to outwit the FBI, Florida Department of Law Enforcement, Orange County Sheriff's Office, OPD, every law enforcement agency that the prosecution could muster up, every alphabet, the Secret Service. They even autopsied the snake. That's how desperate they were. Yes, there was a snake autopsy in this case.
What?
They searched for every single thing they could.
There was a snake autopsy to see if maybe the snake ingested any that's the only thing I could think about.
Yeah, that is so bizarre.
I don't remember that. A snake autopsy.
I guess you're right, though, to see if there was anything inside of him so they could make sure to have all the crimes, all the evidence, if there was any. Maybe, I don't know, just because he was so close.
Yeah, that's the only thing I could think of. But to even pay $15,000 for a snake photo, I'll go out and photograph a snake. And thank you, Jenny Fall for becoming a member. But what do you want, a snake? I got you. Like, for $15,000? Shit.
Hell yeah, for $15,000, we'll get all the snake pictures they need.
Get all the snake. I'll freaking sit there and I'll plank with the snake. I'll do YOLO with it. What do you want?
I wonder if they're going to play the interview because I'm curious, did they pay that for the photo because they knew this snake had been taken as well? And
maybe
that could make it like worth the $15,000 if they're like, oh, and they also took this snake for some reason. Here's the snake they took. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Just to try and, it's quite obvious. A high-profile case. They had already made an arrest. Casey was arrested within 24 hours of being questioned, when there were clearly signs that something was not right with this girl. Something was just not right. They jumped the gun. They immediately made an arrest. We'll worry about the evidence later. And this is their evidence. This is how they get to where we are today. And this is how they ask you to take someone's life. As I mentioned, they don't even investigate Roy Kronk. They took everyone's phone records in this case, and they never asked for Mr. Kronk's phone records. We filed a motion to try and get him, and he objected. He didn't want anyone looking at his phone records or his cell tower information to determine where he was during these months. And the police didn't want to go looking for it either. They weren't about to do that. They didn't confiscate his computer. We took his deposition. We asked him, can you turn over your computer to the police? We'll think about it. They did nothing to investigate this man. We found his son. We did. We went searching for him. And we found his son, who told us, my dad called me. They didn't go finding his son. My dad told me, watch, I'm going to be rich and famous. They didn't want looking, and you're going to notice that throughout this case. There's certain questions they don't want answered. And they're not going to go looking for them. But they'll line up to sit here and tell you about Casey Anthony and her bad behavior.
Well, yeah.
Her inappropriateness. She's not acting right.
God.
Yeah, her bad behavior, her inappropriateness. You mean her lies? You mean her not calling police for a month? You mean her taking them to university? Yeah, that's pretty bad behavior. No wonder that's what they're focused on. And also, does finding remains make you famous? I've never heard of anybody who got famous that way.
I don't know in general, but again, Kaylee was national news, and I feel like we should probably go over hey, what was going on before Kaylee was found. I remember Nancy Grace, where's Kaylee? She was,
yeah.
Sorry. That's my childhood replaying in my head, I remember her. And they were on the hunt for Zanny the nanny. And so I do think in this case, to be the one to to find Kaylee would have been big. But I'm wondering, and I'm trying to keep an open mind because, what he's putting forward, it does sound weird, but if he called in and he believed he saw remains and he called it in and he tried to get their attention and they didn't look properly and he believed, dude, this is freaking so close to the house, I guarantee that, and then eventually went back out. Maybe he had an idea, but I'm keeping an open mind and I'm saving my reservations to see what prosecution, is gonna say about it.
Yeah. Okay. And I have never heard you sound so Italian as you sounded just now when you said something about the attention. The way you said it sounded like you were just about to flip some meatballs in the air.
Make some ravioli.
Yeah.
How do you know I'm not?
Maybe you are.
You never know. There was a $250,000 reward. Wow. Right. Yeah. I just remember it was all over the media.
And by the time she was found, it was months later. So there was time for that buildup.
They were out. So you think the laundries, we're bad with Gabby Petito, with the Molly Golightly's and Betty's. It was swarmed. It was all you have to do is look at the news coverage during that time before Kaylee was found. The same way with Quentin Simon, Leilani, right? Where's that baby? That's how they were. But Casey was in and out of jail, and so they were just coming at Cindy and George.
Right.
I munched prior, so I wouldn't have such a craving. But I already ordered another.
It's me, Melissa. Sorry,
hey, Melissa.
And that's what this case is about. She didn't act right. They don't ask why she didn't act right. Why? Only that day 1, you heard it. Day 2, day 3. Day 4. It takes an elegant prosecutor to come up and do these things and get you emotionally riled up. But there's still no answers. The swimming pool incidents, the witnesses, the independent witnesses that will come and tell you about this. There's no getting around that. No getting around. These are people with no axe to grind. Now, I want to talk briefly about the investigation. I know I've touched on it, but you heard Ms. Jane Burdick tell you that on this day, on day 7, Casey Anthony was spotted on video at IKEA, or day 12, she was spotted at the Blockbuster, or another place. Day 13, she's at Applebee's. Well, they sure did. They sure did do a thorough investigation on her, but yet they still can't come up with the evidence.
Sorry. I got pause there since he paused for a second. And look at all of his visuals, man. I got to give that to him. But yeah, they sure did do a thorough investigation on her. Yeah, mom who didn't report little child missing for 31 days until grandma forced her to, and then put them on a freaking wild goose chase with lies. Who else do you want them to look into?
Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous. Come on now. But I get, he's doing a good job. And I agree with you. The visuals, like, he's prepared. You know what I mean? And I don't know. It's like, if you really think about it, like you said, but will these like little phrases get further with the jury because they're not thinking, they're just hearing him and not thinking about those details? Like, but wait, why would they do more of him? You know what I'm saying? Like, 'cause he's emotional and gets you worked up and kind of in the moment.
Yep. But he's doing, I remember the prosecution's opening statements, but I'm saying when you're thinking about opening statements, it's kind of like, oh, I don't remember any of her mundane monotone. I remember Jose already.
Right. Yeah, he's pretty powerful up there.
He is. He dominates the courtroom, but prosecution needs to be dominating this courtroom.
Yeah.
Look how packed it was, Allie.
It's crazy. Imagine if they had like the prosecutor from Letitia's case, or like a better prosecutor. Would it be different? I don't know.
I think so. I really do. I think so. You never know, but I think that it absolutely would have made a difference.
I think it probably would have too.
Yeah.
This is Sergeant John Allen. He's one of the lead investigators in this case. He's about 5 feet from the road, and he's pointing at Kaylee's remains. But yet for 6 months and all of that investigation, no one could find her. Look how close he is. She was placed there to be found.
Look at her.
Not to be hidden. But unfortunately,
poor pitiful
she was
thing.
by Mr. Kronk, and we will never know the answers. Now I'd like to talk about car. Actually, before I go into the car, I want to finish up on Suburban Drive for a moment. There are 2 videos that you will see. There are plenty of witnesses who will come up and take the stand and talk to you about Suburban Drive and whether it was dry or whether it was not. And okay, maybe you can rely on them. Unfortunately, it wasn't until the defense raised the issue that she was placed thereafter that law enforcement wanted to shut that down. And that was in 2009. A year after is when they started going to these volunteers and asking them. That place was underwater, right? That place was underwater, right? And of course, everybody who's all riled up about this case and can't stand the inappropriate girl, all tell the police the same thing. Yeah, it was underwater. Yeah, it was underwater.
The inappropriate girl.
There are 2 videos that you will see. One from a woman named Gail St. John, the psychic dog handler that I told you about. Right around in early August, she has a video where she drives by the Anthony home and you see all of the media trucks, and drives down towards and around the house, around the Suburban Drive, and says, I'm having a feeling. They get out, she has her dogs walk, and you'll see the woman walking about 30 feet. It's dry, but it's right around the area where Kaylee was found. And most interestingly, you'll hear about 2 private investigators who 1 month prior to Kaylee being found were out searching right at the area where Kaylee was found. What's interesting is these 2 private detectives were working for George and Cindy Anthony at the time.
Yeah, because they're the only ones who were adamantly, desperately searching for their grandchild.
And if you're searching for someone like that and you're guilty, are you going to hire 2 private detectives to look into the case? I don't think so.
No.
I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
Dude, they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. Because if they did nothing, you would be pointing attention to that. Now that they're doing something, it's like, oh, it was them. They were there in that area.
Oh, that's such a good point. They really are. And it reminds me of like the parents in the like, for instance, in Sebastian Rogers' case, they cannot, either side has, no matter what they do, it will be criticized. You know, some of it rightfully so, maybe a lot of it not. But dude, they're grieving. Like, I don't know. You just, in these situations when it blows up, they really can do no right.
No, you're absolutely right.
Sad.
This may be a coincidence. Maybe. One of the private investigators, his name is Dominic Casey. He worked for the defense briefly, early on in the case, and then he went off to work for the Anthonys. Dominic Casey will tell you that he was on the phone with a psychic. Actually, first he tells everyone that he was investigating a tip, that when Casey was a young girl, she would hang out in the woods, and that he was out there investigating. And the police say, well, wait a minute. Casey's not a young girl anymore. She's 22 years old. Why would you look to see if that's a teenage hangout? And then he changes the story and says, well, I was following up on a psychic tip. Well, it turns out this psychic was introduced to Dominic Casey by Cindy Anthony. It could be a coincidence. But on December 20th, when the sheriff's office decides to issue a search warrant of the Anthony home, one of the first words out of Cindy Anthony's mouth is, I had people search that area and the body wasn't there. That video, you will clearly see the water, the area is dry. Now I want to talk about the car. As I mentioned to you, actually, if you need a break, we can take a break. Your Honor?
Can't see you.
I can keep going.
Members of the jury, you need your break now? Okay, you can continue.
All right.
Shit, sorry. You know they're invested. Break? Schmake. Nah. Keep going, dude. Like,
Yeah.
that tells me they're emotionally invested, okay?
Yeah, that's a great point. It's probably very intense for them right now, you know?
Yeah. It's intense for me.
Yeah. Imagine being in the room, being just feet away from her and her family and this presentation. Like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
But the judge, man, I love his little country voice or whatever.
He's like, what good? And excuse me, Jose. Sorry, that's not a good voice, but I'm the judge. You don't determine when there's a break, but no, it's he's gauging a breaking point. I get that because it's easier. You don't want to break mid, like whatever. But
yeah.
Okay, lucid dreams.
The car, as I told you, this car will be the subject of much debate.
Yes, it will.
And you will hear evidence in this case that has never been admitted in a court of law throughout the United States. the air samples that Ms. Jane Burdick told you about, the hair has never been admitted in the state of Florida. The evidence that Ms. Jane Burdick told you about, as well as you're going to hear from a dog.
What?
While the dog can't get up there and testify, his handler is going to talk about the dog and what his dog allegedly said or reacted or alerted to. And we're going to get into that when we talk about the forensics. But one of the important things that I want to talk about is everyone talks about the smell of this car. And there's some things you don't know, things you should know. And here they are. June 16th is the day Kaylee drowned. On the 20th of June is when Casey runs out of gas for the first time. Now, it's going to be the state's contention that Kaylee was in the trunk of Casey's car from the 16th through the 20th. Well, Casey runs out of gas and she calls her boyfriend up,
Which one?
Tony Lazaro.
Thank you.
And she does what she's always done. Goes and gets the gas cans. They break into the shed, they take the gas cans.
What?
Now,
Hold on. Casey does what she always does. Breaking in, getting the gas cans. I'm sorry, what? What? I'm just gonna throw that out there like it's typical behavior. She did her break-in. She stole this week's gas. It was typical.
Trying to make it seem casual,
Yes, like again, he's not arguing she's a fucking liar. He's in court. He knew he couldn't argue that. He incorporated the lies and to show that there is a long history of this type of behavior, but it was for this dark, devious reason that's going to clear her from what she's accused of.
I love when you said, which one? And then he says, Tony. Whatever his last name.
Tony Lazaro. Thank you. Because you never know. I literally have my notes. We had 4 male names written down already in his opening statements alone.
Yeah. Wow. Crazy.
Oh my God. Yeah, she had a lot of different boyfriends.
Tony Lazaro's testimony will go unimpeached. And that is, this young man cooperated with law enforcement from the very first day. He refused to speak to us, only at deposition. He wore a wire when the police wanted to investigate Lee Anthony, and he allowed them to bug his phone.
I'm sorry.
You're fine.
He wore a wire when the police wanted to investigate Lee.
I thought when he said he wanted to investigate George, maybe I misheard because I'm multitasking.
Yeah, I think he said Lee Anthony, but it's just like 10 seconds back. But would that just be just to clear them or like, because, yeah.
I don't know. Let me jump back.
Okay.
From the 16th through the 20th. Well, Casey runs out of gas and she calls her boyfriend up, Tony Lazaro. And she does what she's always done. Goes and gets the gas cans. They break into the shed, they take the gas cans.
Yeah, totally normal.
Now, Tony Lazaro's testimony will go unimpeached. And that is, this young man cooperated with law enforcement from the very first day. He refused to speak to us, only at deposition. He wore a wire when the police wanted to investigate Lee Anthony, and he allowed them to bug his phone.
Yeah, you're right. But you know what?
What?
Okay. Good. They investigate him. Was he charged?
True. Right. That's true.
So you
It's a good
can't
point.
sit here and say they had their eyes only on Casey. You're openly admitting they investigated Lee.
Yes. True.
And what came up? They investigate a lot of people.
Which goes against what he said, because he did say they were only looking at Casey from the beginning. Yep. Remember?
Yep.
He did everything that law enforcement asked. And on this day, Casey runs out of gas and Tony picks her up. They get the gas cans and they go to the car. It's in her family's neighborhood. Well, they pour the gas, and after they're done with one of the cans, Casey opens the trunk and puts the cans in the trunk. 4 days would be obvious, significant human decomposition in the trunk, in the heated trunk of a car, and that car would reek tremendously. But yet Tony Lazzaro doesn't smell a thing. And Casey doesn't go and handle the gas cans on her own. If she had a dead body in the trunk of the car, she wouldn't be calling the people to come out and come smell this car.
Okay. So, well, and thank you, MK. Welcome to whoever got that membership. So how do we know she started there?
Right, exactly. That's what I was thinking. What if she had her somewhere else?
Dog hit on the playhouse. Okay. How do we know she started there?
Yeah.
I'm very excited to hear prosecution's timeline of how they think this played out.
Yeah, me too.
Well, the death day theory and how her movements. Think about Letitia, how many times she moved Gannon.
Yeah.
And think about it being in the back of that damn moving van. Now I understand different temperatures, and so I'm keeping that into account, but we were all shocked. But it happened, and that was longer than 4 days. Well,
yes, and
yeah.
And Melissa, think about this, like how bold people can get in those times. Because I was just thinking about this today with Letitia having Gannon right in the room, in that storage room when the police were there.
Right there, Allie. Right there. And you're totally right. They do become bold. And that's what I think we're seeing now with her coming out on social media. It's like that duper's delight. You got away with it, and you can't help but to flaunt you got away with it.
Yep. That's exactly what it is, in my opinion. And what is it? I don't know. What does it embolden her to do next?
Exactly. And thank you, East Coast Beauty, for 3 months. Happy to be here for 3 months. We're so happy to have you for a fourth of a year.
Sorry if there's any noise. I've been cutting up. I'm making strawberry shortcake.
Strawberry shortcake. That's the snack for tonight?
Yeah, I'm cutting up strawberries. I'm going to let them soak in sugar for just like maybe 30 minutes. And then I got little shortbread and whipped cream. Yes.
You're doing it right, girl.
And of course it's sweet,
Yeah, you always go for the sweet. Yum. See, I'd prefer a steak for dessert.
Ooh, I love steak. Well, I have some chicken fried rice in the microwave. I just heat up, so I'm about to eat.
Go for it.
So she opens the trunk, he smells nothing, and she puts the cans in the trunk. She had a dead body in the trunk, she would have put it in the front of the seat, in the front seat. Wouldn't be opening up so that he could smell, and he doesn't smell a thing. But of course, by the time the cops question him, they don't like that. Are you sure you didn't smell anything? No. Well, maybe you were distracted by the fumes of the gasoline. And that's their explanation. But the fact of the matter is, he doesn't smell a thing. And this is 4 days after, when he had complete access to that car and was right next to it, didn't smell a thing.
I'm sorry, Diana.
On the 24th is when George files that famous police report. And he alleges this fight happens. Even though he doesn't tell anybody until 2 weeks after he reports Kaylee missing. He doesn't say he smells anything in the trunk, if you believe that argument ever happened to begin with. On the 27th,
thank you, Lady F&T.
Casey is throwing out garbage.
Look at that visual. Sorry, he has the whole calendar up. I love it.
This is a picture of Tony Lazzaro's apartment complex. If you can see in the very front of it, there's a dumpster. People who live at this apartment complex must carry their trash to the front of the complex. Casey was staying there. She threw out the garbage.
Is this the dumpster?
She threw the garbage in
Yeah.
the trunk of her car. And like many of us forget sandwiches and leftovers and doggy bags, she forgot to throw out the trash.
Doggy bags.
Yeah. Who's even a fucking bag of shit that you're gonna forget about it fermenting in Florida sun? Get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
But I don't forget sandwich bags and doggy bags in my car. If I have a bag of trash in my car, which no, I wouldn't have trash in my car, like a bag of trash. Yeah, I don't forget sandwich. What kind of sandwich bags you got? And how many sandwiches is she eating? Okay, like let's be real. Does Casey? She's stealing gas cans in the middle of the night, breaking into the shed. You think she's making sandwiches for work every day? What job? She didn't have a job. Okay, how
Yeah.
much she eating?
Yeah, no. I mean, I'll keep like a Kroger bag. I'm the worst with my car though. It's the opposite of my house. Like I'm very particular about the house, not the car. But we keep like a little Kroger bag up front if we're like on the road
Right.
far because we travel so far to go anywhere. But
Yeah.
once, you throw it out, it's right in the front seat. When you stop at the gas station, boom, drop it. You know what I mean? You don't leave it in there. Especially if it's something like old food or something. Come on. I'm talking about water bottles.
He wants to know if you shop at Kroger.
I did in West Virginia, but we don't have one here. But yeah, I did in West Virginia. Wow.
Because he's a Kroger nut. He's always at Kroger.
Ooh, yeah, Kroger's really good. The prices are good. It's clean compared to it. Like I feel like it's more clean, and they do have all kinds of stuff. I miss Kroger.
Yep, I agree. We don't have Kroger here.
I shop at Food Line or Piggly Wiggly mainly because Walmart and Target is far away.
Wait. You have a Piggly Wiggly?
Yes, that's like a southern grocery store chain. And it's so like old school. Like even after you check out, they push your buggy to the car and try to load your groceries.
What's
I usually,
the shopping cart?
yes, they push your shopping cart to the car and then they want to load your groceries and everything, which I don't let them load them. But yeah.
I go to Stop and Shop. Literally, it tells you what we're doing. Stop and shop. And you're lucky if you find a buggy, if that's what you call it. You're lucky if you find one, okay? That shit's bumping into your car because people leave them everywhere. High winds, it's dangerous, man.
I'm sorry. You're lucky if you find a buggy.
Well, you don't call them buggies, you call them shopping carts. It's exactly how I found out about what a holler is, okay? I always learn something new. I didn't even know, Piggly Wiggly was a thing. I've heard Piggly Wiggly, from, I don't know, like from maybe a movie or something. I didn't know it was a real thing.
Yeah, it is. I'll have to, when I bring you down here, I'll take you. It'll be a whole experience.
I would love to go to a Piggly Wiggly. We got King Cullen, Stop and Shop. We don't got good names like that.
Hey, do you have a fresh market?
Nope. Everything's
my God. The fresh market is such an awesome grocery store, but they're like an hour away from me too. But when I'm at the beach, that's the one, remember I told you, like the really fancy grocery store with the good birthday cake and all that when I went on my birthday? Well, anyways, if you don't remember, it's the bomb. You need to go check it. If you see one, check it out.
I'm sorry. I'm stuck on, you have a Come and Go? And is it spelt that way, ma'am? Because
yeah, we don't got that.
Yeah, I don't think I'd eat anything if it's spelled come like that and go. Okay. Why is all my food sticky? Damn it.
Oh.
Ew. Why? I don't know. All right, it doesn't matter. All right,
let's continue. But that reminds me of Alex, like Wade's what do you call her? Poop and scoops or whatever.
Poop and scoops, yeah. Dude, it's fun change here. It's whatever, man.
Okay.
This is the same day she actually runs out of gas. That's where the smell comes from. This is the garbage from the trunk of the car. It's wet, sticky. And what do the police do when they're done with it? They take it into an air room and they dry it out. So it can't, and you will see, once it dries out, the smell goes away. And there's absolutely nothing that can be done to independently test or verify anything from this garbage. It's destroyed evidence. It's intentionally aired out. But this was in the trunk of the car for close to almost 3 weeks. The car is towed on the 30th. The tow truck driver doesn't smell anything. The tow yard company has to wait 4 days before they send out a notice. Your car is here. We have your car. Come get it if you want it. That would have been the 4th or the 5th of July. The Anthony family should have gotten that notice around the 7th or the 8th. Well, they don't go pick up the car until the 15th. George doesn't pick up the car until the 15th. Why? Why wait a week? They will tell you they didn't see the notice. But yet that car sat there for almost a week after they had notice. Again, questions we will never be able to answer for you. So Mr. Anthony goes and picks up the car. And one of the very first things he does is he starts telling anyone that will listen, my granddaughter's missing. She's been missing. I haven't seen her for 30 days. I found my daughter, but I haven't found my granddaughter. And then he walks up to this car and asks for a witness to open the trunk. And as Ms. Stream Burdick said, he'll come up here and say, oh, please don't let this be my Kaylee. And he will say, like he told detectives on numerous occasions, that he smelled a dead body in the trunk of that car. And it's a smell you never forget. Once you smell it, you never forget it. Of course, he's never, nor has anyone else in this case, had trash in the trunk of a car for 3 weeks in the Florida hot sun, so we don't know how to compare it to. But he is certain that what he smelled was a dead body. And what does he do? He doesn't pick up the phone and call Casey. Are you okay? Honey, are you okay? Where's Kaylee? Is she okay? He's a detective, an ex-police detective. He knows he's smelling a dead body, and this is a possible crime scene. And what does he do? He gets in the car and wants to drive it home. And then he goes to work, making 0 attempts after not seeing his granddaughter for 30 days. And all of these, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, suspicious activities that Ms. Stream Burdick told you about, doesn't do a thing. He wants to distance himself. Stay away. Have nothing to do with this. What's interesting to you, that you should also note, ladies and gentlemen, is he also had access to this car. He shows up to pick up the car with none other than the gas cans. How'd he know that car was out of gas? He hadn't spoken. He's going to tell you.
I don't know. Maybe he knows his daughter, and as you just said in the opening statement, she'd break in on a fucking nightly basis to the shed that he had to lock up the damn gas cans for.
Yeah, apparently she was always running out of gas. So.
And didn't she say it's out of gas? Like, that's what the thing was. It's out of gas. Come on, dude. Come on.
Yeah. Reaching.
Yeah, very much so.
he hadn't spoken to Casey in over 2 or 3 weeks, and that they found out through the notice that the car was there. How did he know to show up with gas cans? Well, he's going to tell you it was a lucky guess.
Okay.
Why doesn't he call the police? Why doesn't he call Casey to find out if she's all right? Or Kaylee to find out if Kaylee's all right? He doesn't do any of that because he knows. He knows exactly what happened and how it happened and when it happened. Questions that nothing the state will present to you will be able to answer. But he knows all the answers and doesn't say a word. Now, one of the interesting things that will happen is you'll hear that Cindy went to work too. Cindy did call Casey, did send her a text, major problems. And we don't know when Cindy Anthony found out what happened, or if she does to today. But there's one thing for certain too, she went back to work. And people were already asking questions about this car because she had to leave work to go get the car. And just like the pregnancy, they were asking questions. And they said, Cindy, you need to call the police. And Cindy says, no, I'll call Casey later. I'll deal with it later. So what does she do? She goes back to her desk and starts to work. It's not until one of the coworkers get the supervisor and make Cindy go home that she has to now confront reality. Just like the pregnancy, you're faced with reality. You heard what Ms. Drain Burdick said about Casey. She's walking down Universal Studios. Oh, come here. This is my office over here. Let me walk down this way. And then faces reality. Well, this is the way she was raised. And think about that for a second. She takes law enforcement down this path, down to an office that doesn't exist. This is how this family lives. This is how Casey learned to deal with her problems.
See, and I knew, like, because it makes sense. He's not able to argue the lies. Like, they are there. So he incorporates the lies and he uses the lies to fit his narrative.
Yeah. And all I can think of is how George must be feeling because, you know, they're panning from Casey to him and Casey to him. And it's just like, dude,
He's on trial.
Yeah, he absolutely is. And he doesn't have a chance to clear his name, though. You know what I mean? Like,
no. And we'll watch the interviews when we get through trial, like what's happened since and the lie detectors and stuff, and watch what damage has been done and them speaking out. But it doesn't matter. He'll be on trial for the rest of his life.
Yep. Yes, he will.
And think about that, because you only have your memory. Like, and I know that people aren't as big on it in today's society, but in the past, all you had was the name you made for yourself, you know, and it still stands true. And this will forever be his name. Even after he's gone, it'll always be a smear on this entire family's legacy. Yeah. Well, not legacy, but, you know.
You know, yeah, it will. But, you know, I'm excited that we're also going to follow up after. I can't wait. Like, I really want to have all this knowledge. You know what I mean? All the evidence. I'm like hungry for it. You know what I mean?
Yes. And no, they did not, Mallory. And she still stands strong, and she's even incorporated it in like new and more details that don't even align with the original narrative. Yeah. And we'll show all of it. And it's just disgusting.
And now Cindy has to deal with this problem. So Cindy calls and finds Amy Heisinger and confronts Casey. Casey doesn't know what to say. So you hear her blame the babysitter that doesn't exist, that everybody knows doesn't exist. Or do they?
Everybody?
Yeah.
One of the most important and telling things that you're going to hear
Tell
when you
us,
hear
okay.
these 911 tapes.
What is it?
It's not what you hear, it's what you don't hear.
Okay.
There's going to be a time where
Concern, distraught, sadness, panic. None of that do I hear from Casey, even if you want me to believe this is what happened. She would still be mourning the loss of her child. This is why it never adds up. Even if you want me to believe what your narrative is, she lost her child.
Yep. She should be grieving, but she's so cool, calm, and collected. She couldn't care less. It's like, I don't know, just another day, you know?
Allie, just wait till they show what she was doing those 31 days. Just wait. Your jaw's gonna drop on the floor.
I can't wait.
So that is why I don't know how the jury. Well, we'll get into that, but like, even if you want to believe her narrative, keep it always in the back of your mind throughout the whole trial. But no way, because she still lost the one untainted thing, the one thing that was hers, even though a life of abuse. Now her baby's gone. Where is the emotion?
Which you would be hardcore grieving. You know what I mean? At that point, which, wait a minute, she says it happens June 16th. They don't call till July 16th. Right?
I think so.
Yeah. So there's that 31 days or whatever. So something like that. That's really very soon into the loss. You know what I mean? Hell, Melissa, you know, like I suffered a loss, not a child, just a close family member over a year ago. And it's still like, I can hardly speak about it. It's still something I think about every single day. Like, your child?
Yeah.
No.
Cindy was hysterical on that 911 tape. She will turn and say, George, Casey says Zanny took the baby a month ago. And you hear dead silence. I want you to listen to that. When you hear that 911 tape and you hear Cindy Anthony hysterical, and when she turns to George and says, the baby's missing, he doesn't say a word. He doesn't say, what? What do you mean she's missing? Who has her? Let's go get her. Nothing.
Wow.
You don't know what he
Doesn't
was doing.
say a word. And that's because he knows where she's at. He knows what happened. This is no surprise, but he will distance himself from it. And in fact, in one sworn statement, he says he wasn't even there when Cindy called 911. Keeps wanting to say, I was at work.
There were
I have any
3
point of
times.
this. I'm just George, just your average grandfather. Casey's the wild one. Casey's the one with all the stories. He's saying this while he's with his mistress who's paying him money and he's pretending he's working. And that you're going to hear. Crystal Holloway gave him money so he could pretend he was working. Cindy thought he was working. But you're only here about Casey's fake job, not about George's fake job.
Oh. Shots fired, man.
You can get the dry erase. I want to.
George didn't tell police, you know?
I'm just
Right.
about to wrap it up.
Honestly, morally, is it wrong to lie to your? Yeah, absolutely. This isn't about the investigation, though. He didn't say anything to police. Like, he doesn't have to be a perfect guy. He could be a piece of crap, right?
Yep.
And not have anything to do with it. That's what people have to remember.
Yes. And I love that you always try to keep that in mind and remind people. I think people need reminded of the two things can be true at one time. Let's say that he's a terrible, cheating, horrible parent, like whatever, horrible husband. You know what I mean? He still could have nothing to do with this.
Right.
The two don't correlate. And we see that a lot where people will connect the two things, you know?
Right. Absolutely. Because people, what's concerning is if like they find out one part of that is true, they automatically assume another part is, but that's the tactic, guys. Jose's going to state something that's true and he knows it's true, and it's going to come out that it's true to automatically correlate the other part that he doesn't know is true, but it's going to make your brain think, oh, well, if the first part's true, I'm going to assume the second part's true too.
Yep.
And thank you, Sunshine Mafia, for 15 months. Hey, y'all, and I'm glad to make it to this live tonight. We're happy to have you here. A couple of days before. Hi, Nancy. Respectfully, you changed your name. I love it.
On some of the forensics that you'll hear throughout this case. You're going to hear about the car evidence and a possible hair. One hair. But what Ms. Drain-Burdick didn't tell you is the FBI lab analyst was telling everyone, and she'll probably come and tell you too, that she can't say for certain that that hair came from a dead body. In fact, she sent out a request asking to find more hairs, and they did. We hired Dr. Henry Lee, one of the world's greatest forensic scientists, to go in and search that car.
Wow, Henry Lee.
And he found 17 different hairs, 17 more hairs. And before you start wondering what is Kaylee's hair doing in there, in the trunk of the car, well, Casey's hair, other people's hair.
I'm sad.
We often shed hair very easily. None of them, absolutely none of the other hairs, I think there was a total of 27 that ended up being inspected, had what they call the banding, the discoloration. This was a problem for them. So when we went and took the depositions of the analyst, they got a bright idea. They decided to conduct a study. After we took their deposition, they realized that they had something that was not validated, so they did a study of live hairs in trunks, in water, it's exposed to all different elements, and they found they had a couple of what's called blind examinations that showed that there were some characteristics shown from live hairs. This is very questionable. And you will hear that it is rarely, if ever, done on one single hair, this type of analysis, because you need more. You need to be able to be certain. And this hair means nothing. You'll hear about, again with the hair, with the car, this dog. Well, this dog is retired. No longer works for the police department. But what Ms. Drain-Burdick didn't tell you, she told you about the backyard, how they came out, the dog alerted, and how they dug there. But she didn't tell you they came back the next day. The dog didn't alert. There are things called false positives, handler bias that you're going to hear about. And it's interesting that the dog at the very same exact spot wouldn't alert the next day. You'll hear that when this dog went around the car, he broke every rule in the book. He didn't do a proper lineup. There should be multiple vehicles. The police officer should not know which is the suspect vehicle. So that gives you credibility. It lets you know that this is real. This isn't the dog the handler queuing off to the dog, because the dog wants to please its master.
What?
These are called tools. And that's what the dogs are. They're just simple tools. There's a confirmatory test that must be done. And the dog, he knew exactly which car it was. And you'll hear conflicting testimony with whether it was one car or two cars. He's the only one that says he searched two cars, that they were side by side, while the other detectives and the CSI people will tell you it was just one car. And the most telling part about this dog is They took this dog out to Suburban Drive after they had finished sifting and collecting all of Kaylee's remains. There were still several bones missing. And you will hear that, knowing that there were remains at this location, the dog never alerted. The reliability of this dog is questionable. I'd like to question the dog, but I can't. I'd like for you to hear it straight from the dog's mouth, but that's not possible. None of that's going to be possible. And the reason is that a dog should not be testifying in a trial. And let's not test it out in a death penalty trial either. This air sample, as Mr. Greenberg told you about Dr. Arpad Voss, a very interesting man. Again, throughout the United States, this evidence has never been admitted in a court of law. And this is an experiment that he conducted, nothing more. An experiment in which you will see flaw after flaw after flaw. It's never been validated. It's never been independently tested. And he can't find a single person in the entire world that would agree with his theories. That's going to be long, drawn out, and boring. But the fact of the matter is that they're getting desperate. Air samples, pure desperation. You'll hear that this scientist is somewhat of an inventor. In fact, what he's doing is he's invented a sniffer machine. Looks like a metal detector, so that he can sell it to law enforcement agencies across the country. And what he's using to determine the chemical composition of human decomposition is this database. Well, it's now being validated in this courtroom. And he holds a patent to that machine. And he stands to make millions, and has an inherent bias by his testimony.
Okay.
You'll also hear that he has some other great ideas, like putting electronic leashes on flies to find dead bodies. And he also claims to be able to find hidden graves with a coat hanger. He's an interesting individual, and you'll get to hear plenty of his testimony, and it will be highly debated.
Okay, I got to pause right there, and I got to say, listen, most scientists are effing mad when they're on the brink of pure genius. So it might sound crazy and out there, but I'm sure they thought the same thing of Einstein with his theory of relativity, right? Edison, Elon Musk. Hey, I'm gonna make rocket ships that go out, man, and then they self-land. Or I'm gonna make cars that, get ready, drives itself. You know, like it might sound mad here, but they're scientists. They're creating things, you know, like, come on. I don't think it's that out there. I don't know. I'll let you know what I think when he gets on the stand. No, not Roy Kronk here. He's going through all of the things that they're going to test: the hair, the dog, the air samples, and he's trying to discredit this scientist right off the bat. I'm gonna put a rover to Mars, man. like, yeah, no shit. This is what they do. Okay, touche, Scott. Touche. Well, I don't know. I don't remember NWP. I'm just saying in general. I don't remember. We'll see. Like I said, I'll make my judgment when he gets on the stand. But that's how majority of scientists figure out or just discover something massive.
Now, this is the evidence that Mr. Burdick talked to you about. Get this. But I'm going to tell you some of the things she forgot to tell you about. Remember what I told you? They spared no expense on trying to investigate Casey. Well, Ms. Jane Burdick didn't tell you that they searched all of her clothing. They did a search warrant on the home. And they took every piece of clothing that Casey had in her closet, and they searched and they did the blue light to see if there was any blood or any suspicious stains. All came back negative.
Okay.
They took all her shoes, every pair of shoes that she owned, and they tested them for soil samples to see if they matched Suburban Drive. Negative. They took textile fibers. Sorry if you can't. I know my handwriting's getting pretty bad there. They took textile fibers that they found off Suburban Drive. They compared it to her car and to their home. No match. They checked the duct tape. The duct tape had no fingerprints. They ran every kind of fingerprinting exam you can. No fingerprints on the duct tape.
Right, Jordan?
One of the easiest ways of being able to lift fingerprints is off of duct tape. Yes, the duct tape was deteriorated to a certain extent, but they still tried at the FBI. They also searched the duct tape for DNA. No DNA of either Casey or Kaylee. But yet they want you to believe that she had duct tape wrapped around her mouth and was decomposing, completely decomposed, and not a shred of DNA on there.
Are you going to argue that part, though? They want you to believe she was completely decomposed. Is she not? Like your own opening statement said, they didn't even recover all of her remains. There were bones missing. Underwater.
I kind of confused what he's getting to there. And look at her, man. Still, this permanent pout, the perma pout, she's just, makes me sick. What is he getting at there?
Well, he's conveniently, he's bringing attention to Casey or Kaylee's DNA wasn't on there. But you're not mentioning neither was George's, right? If that's your narrative, neither was George's. What's your point?
Was on the duct tape that was on her, on what?
Yes.
Like the household duct tape or the
Kaylee. Wait.
Oh, like the other
how
side?
could it have been? No, how? I don't know how. That goes to show if her DNA wasn't even on the damn duct tape that was on her.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
What does that say to you?
That she was, I don't know. What does it say to you?
I don't know. Let me jump back a minute.
Okay.
Sorry if you can't. I know my handwriting's getting pretty bad there. They took textile fibers that they found off Suburban Drive. They compared it to her car and to their home. No match.
Okay, textile fibers.
They checked the duct tape.
Oh.
The duct tape had no fingerprints.
I'm sorry. They're probably talking about the duct tape roll.
Oh, okay. That's what I was wondering. Okay, but okay.
But again, okay, let's say Casey pulled a piece of that duct tape. That same, by your argument, was used and it was still in the Casey Anthony, she was still in their house, okay? And it was used to hang up the missing child posters. You see it even at this station when George Anthony was handing out flyers. Okay, let's say her fingerprints were on that initial outside, a big roll of duct tape. It was, you're admitting it was used over and over. So any potential fingerprint that may have been on it is now probably hanging up on some damn poster.
Right. That's what I was going to say, because they wouldn't have known to even look at the duct tape until, December. And how many times has it been used in the meantime?
He already admitted. You could even see it in a photo at a stand handing out flyers. It was used to hang up her flyers.
Yeah.
They ran every kind of fingerprinting exam you can. No fingerprints on the duct tape. One of the easiest ways of being able to lift fingerprints is off of duct tape. Yes, the duct tape was deteriorated to a certain extent, but they still tried at the FBI.
See, that's what made me
They
think
also-
it was the one on her body. Are they, JD? Because that's what's confusing me then. Okay, if they're talking about the one that was on her body, it is curious that there's been not even Kaylee's DNA on the duct tape. But that goes to show you how long it was sitting out there under those elements to where even Kaylee's DNA, which it was found on her remains, isn't even detectable.
How is that even possible? Like even, does he mean like on the one side, but on the other side, it should have like, I don't know. That's pretty crazy. But also I'm kind of thinking you're trying to make points about things that don't necessarily mean anything, you know, but trying to just make it look like you have all these points to make,
Right.
and many of them don't really add up to anything. But I'm so confused by that. All right.
Well,
Maybe we'll hear more.
It seems like he's talking about the one on her body. But again, if I would think that would be interesting if Kaylee's DNA was found and nobody else's. Her DNA wasn't recovered. Bam. Okay. Then that tells me the elements of being under the water, everything as a factor, they were not able to detect any. That doesn't mean it was never there.
Right.
They ran every kind of fingerprinting exam you can. No fingerprints on the duct tape. One of the easiest ways of being able to lift fingerprints is off of duct tape. Yes, the duct tape was deteriorated to a certain extent, but they still tried at the FBI. They also searched the duct tape for DNA. No DNA of either Casey or Kaylee. But yet they want you to believe that she had duct tape wrapped around her mouth and was decomposing, completely decomposed, and not a shred of DNA on there.
Oh, so he's putting forth the duct tape came what, later? Like, what are you trying to say here? That it wasn't there? That Kronk did it?
Okay, see, that's kind of what I was thinking when he first started. I'm like, what are you trying to say here? That the evidence has been like missed? I don't know. That's kind of what I was thinking too, that he was trying to point to some kind of foul play as far as messing with the evidence or something like that.
Right. Well, and that's what he used just a little bit ago. And he said the parents hired the investigators. They searched that area, you know, like Kronk had been there. He moved Kaylee's body. That I guess I don't know. Maybe he'll clarify a little bit further in opening statements, but I don't know.
Okay,
yeah,
Melissa.
But the duct tape held her mandible to her skull, correct? Go ahead.
Question. What are you drinking right now?
Nothing.
Okay. Just curious because, you know, I know that you say like you love your drinks, and that's like where you get your sweet stuff. So I was just curious, like what kind of good stuff you were drinking on, but okay.
Because I'm trying not to drink the good stuff anymore.
Oh,
I know.
hey, everything in moderation. You know?
No, I want that, and I want that now, but I don't have anything good.
Oh,
I saw you had a Calypso yesterday. Those are good.
they are good.
Yeah, those, and I don't usually like blue flavor anything, but that blue raspberry lemonade Calypso is bomb.
Dude, the kiwi one is so good, but I can only find it at the beach.
I don't know
Super
about the
good.
kiwi one.
Yeah, I even looked online because I was like wanting it so bad, and I found their website, and they have limeade too, and zero sugar ones. They actually have 0 calorie ones too.
Yeah, but they're not good, Allie. They're just not good.
That's true.
Now get me all in my head about thinking about what I want to
I'm
drink.
so sorry. I just figured you had something.
It's so hard for me not to. I'm addicted to drinks. I don't like
We need
Peach
to-
Shack though.
Need to DoorDash you some drinks.
No, don't, because I'll drink them. I'll drink them all. Ooh, mango passion fruit liquid IV is what I'm drinking. Good for you.
Hey, those are good for you, yeah. Okay, sorry to be off topic. I just curious because I took a drink of a Sprite strawberry kiwi, and I'm like, I know Melissa would not like this, but
Oh, just Sprite. I'll take just Sprite, but none of that fancy shit.
none of the flavors.
You let yourself get a small Diet Coke. Did you get an extra large popcorn with extra butter and shovel that shit in with it? Because that's what I do.
I always laugh when people have like a Diet Coke and then like
Yeah.
popcorn and all that
Like
stuff.
Massive popcorn. Dude,
Yeah.
I've cracked lips trying to shovel an extra kernel. Like, why is it with popcorn? You have to put as much in your effing mouth as you could possibly, like just one more kernel. And I have slit the corner of my lips before. Why can't you just like add them as you go, you know? But no, there's something about popcorn. You have to shovel that shit in.
Like handfuls at a time. Yeah, you're so
Handfuls
right
at
about
the
that.
time,
You
and
said
the
I
butter
cracked
starts
like-
to burn because your lips are cracked. Just eat it like one at a time. But no, there's just something about it. It's like one more.
It's so buttery.
The whole this just just something about that popcorn, man.
That's funny.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Get me.
Here we go.
Misspeak. There was DNA on there. DNA from an FBI analyst. They contaminated the duct tape. DNA is so sensitive, so easily attachable, that an analyst in the documents department contaminated the duct tape. And there's also another profile on there who they don't know, partial profile, someone they don't know. But it's only at what's called one marker. So it's impossible to find who that DNA belongs to. But it is not impossible to exclude both Casey and Kaylee. They're completely excluded. There's usually what we call 13 different markers where they test DNA. And unfortunately, this is one, only one. Could be contamination or could not be. But there's one thing for certain. There's no forensic evidence that ties Casey to this. Again, she's too stupid to, she's dumb enough to leave the body off the side of the road, but yet smart enough to leave zero forensic evidence.
It could have been there, sir.
Something's not right here. Something doesn't make sense. Well, they tested more hairs that they found.
Okay.
They did all kinds of tests.
I'm sure.
They all came back negative. Negative, negative, negative. The only thing that they are trying so desperately to tie Kaylee to is the car. But one, if we get back to its basics, if we get back to the very basics here, that is, how did Kaylee die? How did Kaylee die? The car doesn't shed any light on that. At best, it tells you she was transported. But you'll hear some testimony about a lie that George Anthony told, that Casey was driving her mother's car on one occasion, and that George chased her down the 408, which is a highway here. And they asked him for the toll records. They said, you should have the receipts. He said, oh yeah, I'll get them for you. We didn't get them. The investigators had to go get them. And they found out he lied. He didn't get arrested for lying to law enforcement. At the end of this case,
are you going to mention who ditched Kaylee's body, sir?
at the end of this case, when you go back home, and you're back in Clearwater, and you're sitting around the dinner table, and someone says to you, why did you find Casey Anthony not guilty? You're going to say, well, I was fed a wealth of information, like a V.
You see what he just did there?
All this information.
You see what he did? He manifested them their answer. When you go back to Clearwater and you're sitting at your dinner table and they ask you, why did you find Casey Anthony not guilty? You're going to say, he already manifested to them, you're going to find her not guilty. You know what I mean?
Wow. Yeah, no, I have to stop focusing on the chat, but I just love you guys so much down there, but I'm going to not do that for the last few minutes. But wow, what a freaking tactic.
It's little things like that that really, if you guys don't think it plays a part, it does. It's reverse psychology. It's kind of like an inception. It's planting in your brain from moment one opening statements. You're going to find her not guilty. You're going to find her not guilty. You're going to find her not guilty. I'm even putting a scenario in your head when you're sitting at dinner later down the road and they're like, why'd you find Casey not guilty? This is what you're going to say. And thank you. Rachel for 32 months. Hi, beautiful. 32 months. That's awesome. But yeah, it's an interesting tactic.
Very.
When you go back home and you're back in Clearwater and you're sitting around the dinner table and someone says to you, why did you find Casey Anthony not guilty? You're going to say, well, I was fed a wealth of information, like a V. All this information came, but it all boiled down to one thing. They couldn't tell me how she died. They couldn't prove this was a murder.
Allie, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, they couldn't prove it was a murder. You're right. But damn, man, that could be so many other cases, right? Like, think about it. Like Leilani, for instance, they literally only found pieces of him. Evelyn, and this point made in her trial, but it didn't make the difference, that it did in this one. Crazy.
Oh, look at JD Wells. Thank you for 16 months. Had to run to the store for strawberry shortcake fixings. Damn you, Allie. She's being a bad influence, trying to get us to drink sugar drinks and strawberry shortcakes.
I'm so sorry.
No regrets. No regrets. And I love those little, my mom used to make those like little individual shortbread like you're doing. It's good.
My mom did too. I haven't had them for years and years.
Yeah. I thought you had to let the strawberry sit in sugar at least for the day prior.
No, I think it usually just maybe by the time we're off of this, it should be, where you can use it even maybe before. But if you leave it a day, it will be better. And every day it gets better. You know what I mean? If it's 2 days, it's even sweeter. And for some reason, the sugar, I think, preserves them a little bit longer, you know?
Well, I thought when you said it, I'm like, oh, wow, my mom effing lied to us, like to get us to not eat it on the spot. That's what happened. Because she'd be like, it's not ready. Like, you got to wait tomorrow. And your mouth would be salivating.
If the water is not super cold, then the sugar dissolves, and then it just all kind of sits together and But that's funny because they put them at the store in a way you can't avoid it. You go in and right at the fruit section, these little shortbread things, and it's like, man, okay. I seen this other lady pick one up and I was like, I'm making some of that.
They hold the strawberries in it, so it doesn't spill over and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, Knuckle Sandwich got some popcorn. We got Being Bio Girl ordering the dots. We're food and crime in it. We're food and crime in it.
Yeah. That's awesome, though. I love this. That's why, I don't know, doing the lives with you, it's very easy. It just, it's I don't even think about it, and it just makes it pretty relaxing,
Yeah, I agree. And hey, Chris, MK, we're a few minutes about to be out. I know we're food in it, but look at us. We're 3.5 minutes away from this ending. You got to call it a night that quick. I don't mean to apply pressure, but you may as well just wait 5 more minutes. Sorry, you just may as well just wait, okay?
Surprised we're not 4 minutes away.
Well, technically, we're like, yeah, actually, nope, I'm sorry. We're 4 minutes away. It's 3 minutes and 50 seconds, but basically 4 minutes.
Yeah, round up.
Couldn't prove this was a manslaughter case. There was no evidence of any child abuse. And that's why we voted not guilty. You're going to see throughout the entirety of this case, I'm getting desperate here with this marker, that, let me use the color. I'll do it down here, it's probably better. The prosecution, can we lift this up? The prosecution in a murder case is supposed to prove their case beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt. Not a forced doubt or speculative one, every reasonable doubt. They've got to present to you a case A to Z to prove their case. Well, if the A is George Anthony and saying that he was the last person that saw Kaylee, you really can't trust that, now, can you? In fact, if you remember the indictment, it says from June 15th, not the 16th. Makes you wonder if they even believe him. If you can't trust George Anthony, and they don't know how she died, because the medical examiner will testify that her death was a homicide, but by undetermined means. They don't know how she died, but they're going to tell you it's a murder or at the hands of another. So if you don't have this, you don't have A, and Mr. Kronk represents Z, you don't even have that. We'll never be able to answer all those questions, and partially because it was never looked into. But the fact remains, this is not a murder case. And this is certainly not a manslaughter case. And there's definitely no evidence of any child abuse. When you've heard all the evidence, we're going to ask you to render a verdict of not guilty.
Wow, so
All this
emotionless
aside,
there.
Yeah.
as important as some people think this case is,
What?
it's not nowhere near as important as it is to Casey.
Wow.
They didn't know
my.
her. They didn't love her the way Casey did.
Oh, fuck you.
They didn't breastfeed Kaylee every 2 hours when she was born. They didn't wake up every 3 hours to feed her.
Wow.
They weren't there when she first walked. They weren't there to take care of her. Casey was.
Was she?
And you can never bring Kaylee back for Casey. But you can help end this nightmare. By
Her
sending
parents
her home.
were there, were they not? I mean,
Yeah.
I'll ask you all, individually and collectively, to render a verdict of not guilty. Thank you.
wow.
Dude.
Hey, look at I was going to ask you to look at the beginning of this one just so we can get a sneak peek.
Like press
just for,
play, you mean? Or
even just, or just like, I was thinking just for like a minute or something, just so we can see what we're getting into.
Us impatient fucks. Okay. And we're watching this tomorrow, guys, on Allie's. But okay, just a sneak peek. But I told MK it was only 4 minutes. He's not here anyway. It's okay.
1 extra minute.
Yes.
Oh, God.
And when did you marry?
In 1981.
And where did that occur?
Also in Warren, Ohio.
Now, at the time that you met Cindy, were you working as a law enforcement officer then?
Yes, sir, I was.
And in what capacity were
Interesting.
you working when you two first met and began to see each other?
I was working as an undercover drug agent with the sheriff's department, where I was employed.
In your time with the sheriff's office, could you just describe for us what different positions you held or responsibilities you had?
Well, I had a brief stint as considered an auxiliary officer.
Oh, I'm
I
gay.
was immediately asked to become a full-time officer, which I
Thank you for
did. I
being
was
here.
in 2 years road patrol.
Look at her.
I advanced pretty quickly to
She's not
become
looking at
a
him.
detective, and I was working at different times in auto theft. I mean, it was a lot of different things, and homicide. I did a lot of different varied things
Okay.
as a detective.
How big an agency was the sheriff's department? Well, is it Warren, Ohio Sheriff's Department or
It's called the Trumbull County Sheriff's Department.
Trumbull County Sheriff's Department? How big?
I don't know why I expected it to be longer for him.
I wonder if that halfway mark is the defense. Like, when does the defense take over?
Oh,
Oh, no.
I can't.
Mm.
Really. Oh,
Mm-mm-mm.
hold on. Let me see. Is this prosecution or is this? Fuck you. Sorry.
Oh,
That's.
I bet you they take over at that mark. So, and I think that it'll still take us a while to get through. I think probably
2
split it half
episodes
and
again.
half.
Yeah, half
Yeah.
and half.
Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous, but excited.
I don't think I can
Yeah.
handle snacks tomorrow because it's going to be too emotional, guys.
Yeah. So is Cindy after him? I would think so, maybe, but
No. So Cindy, okay, so here's our lineup. After this, we have Cameron Campana and Nathan, which again, some of these some of the people,
wow.
this was during her time partying.
Right.
Tony, who dis? Brian Berner, Jamie, and Erica. Tony Lazaro. This is Tony Lazaro.
Oh wow. Seeing
This
him
is
is weird.
Anthony. Yeah. Okay. We have George Backup on the stand.
Oh.
Another Anthony. Jeez. Wait. Oh no.
Wait, that's
Hold on. Hold on. I was reading them wrong. I'm reading Florida versus Anthony.
Duh, they're all Anthony then.
Like there's so many Anthony. God. That's embarrassing.
Another Tony. Wow.
I'm like another
Tony's here.
Tony. Thank you, J
remember.
Rose, for becoming a member to this dumbass bitch's channel. Shit.
No.
I'm sorry. So wait, hold on. Let me try that again. Okay. We have George. We have Cameron and Nathan. Roy. There we go. Roy and Maria. Okay. Brian Berner, Jamie and Erica. Really, Anthony. This is Tony.
Yeah, for real.
George again. Ricardo. This is just witness testimony. We have Tony again, Anthony. Mallory Parker and William Waters. Surveillance and video exhibits. Catherine Sanchez, Simon Birch. George Backup on the stand. Tony Backup on the stand. Cindy Anthony there. Cindy Anthony part 2. Cindy Anthony part 3.
Wow.
Amy, who she stole her checks from. Lee Anthony, her brother. Law enforcement. Detective Yuri, which he looks exactly how I expected, Allie. He looks exactly how I expected, this big, like, Russian-looking guy. Yuri again. These are the video visits. Lee.
Yeah.
Video visits. Cindy and her parents with Cindy and George. Part 2, jail, and this is why we didn't go into them more because they're gonna play them anyway. So we didn't see this one. Jailhouse visits part 2. Didn't see this. We didn't see this. One-on-one with her dad. Oh damn! Hold on.
Oh, the one-on-one with dad, man.
Part 3. You guys, we have a lot. Detective Charity and Awilda, Christine, Geraldo, which you could see this, I think, is a floor mat or something from the vehicle.
Yeah.
Geraldo, Karen, Michael Vincent. This is when they brought literal air. That's literal.
Wow.
That's why do I keep doing that? That's literal air in a can. Okay.
From the trunk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Dr. Arpod, Geraldo, Dr. Arpod, Michael Rickenbach, Deputy Jason Forge, Patrol Supervisor Kristen Spear, Sandra Osborne, Kevin Stinger, John
You
Bradley,
got a lot.
Lee Anthony. There is, let me see. Holy crap.
Oh my gosh.
There
What
is,
is that? Sorry.
I don't even
That-
know what that is.
You knew exactly what I was talking about too.
Yep.
That was good.
Cindy Anthony again.
So I guess after they testified, they didn't release them and then brought them back?
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
I'm excited for Dr. Werner.
I cannot believe Henry Lee. Like, I love him from, like, I've seen him on a million forensic shows, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That makes me, just, wow.
Cindy again. Here. Where's Dr. G?
Yeah, medical examiner. I can't believe she's the medical examiner. Like, when you told me that the other day, it shocked me.
Mm-hmm. Roy Kronk. There's Roy.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so much. George again. Crystal Holloway, his mistress.
Oh, my God. You guys, and we're going through it all. Even if it's going to take us a while, and we're okay with that.
Yeah, it
we
may
want
take
to
us a
learn it
year.
all.
Here's
Yeah.
closing arguments. Yep. And sentencing.
Wow.
Oh, it's going to be a lot.
You know, another one that would be cool to do like this that's like older, O.J. Simpson. I don't know
I
if that's
was
even available.
thinking that. I was thinking that, Allie, the last episode, and I was like, wow, you know, like we have so much we could learn about this going into future trials. And I'm like, OJ is a great example too. But if anything, I think is more corruption, it is more OJ.
Right. And is it even on like, because that was, you know, I remember being in first grade and my grandma, or either kindergarten or first grade, because she passed away like during my first grade year, but I stayed with her till then, and she was watching it every day. I remember when he was found not guilty, she sobbed and cried. And that was the first like experience I saw someone like watching a trial, you know what I mean? Hearing about a trial or something, and it was every day.
I think
Like
when we finally
forever.
get done for Casey, we should do OJ because that was a really interesting one too. And to see how they went in, so the jury went and visited and did a home visit, and they changed it. They changed OJ's house and they exchanged the pictures and stuff like that was fucked up, guys. That was
I
fucked
didn't know
up.
that. Wow.
You didn't know that? So they had the jury
No.
go and visit the home, okay, to do a walkthrough. They replaced all of the pictures that was hanging on his walls and stuff like that. They changed it to make it appear a certain way.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think we should do that too. Because, like, this is a cool little series, like a going back to old cases.
Yeah, revisit.
And
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And I don't know. I think we could do something cool with that. Even if we recorded, like, if we had to record some, like, we could even record some episodes not live on StreamYard, like podcast, or I don't know. We could do something really cool with it. We got to think about it. But
that's
I
what,
love doing live.
that's what I heard too. It's crazy, but I'm just excited because, like I said, especially going into Idaho and Koberger's trial, I like because we see a lot of trials where you really can't ever anticipate what the outcome's going to be. But to see in this case where it seems so right there, hey, they're even taking ownership of she died and we got rid of the body, right? An accident, like to see how it could really go whichever way.
Well, you know, Lori Vallow, her trial, I think, is it next week? Like, it's coming up, and she's representing herself.
She's doing the most, and she really is one that I believes what she's saying.
I do too, 100%. I think that she's ill.
She is ill, and to think she wasn't approved for being competent at first. Like, that's what took so long.
Yeah.
But I've been going to bed listening to the Melanie Gibb Nadian interviews. Remember that?
Yes.
First out, and her damn bangs. I always think about Bendy. Talking about those bangs are always in the back of my head. But she was a wackadoo one too. But it's just such an interesting story, Lori Vallow, like in Chad Daybell.
Well, now we'll get to see Lori question Melanie. Like, can you imagine?
Oh, I know, man. Lori Vallow, she, God, went off the deep end cult with a guy, and there are multiple deaths in Lori Vallow's case. But she had her children killed and her husband killed, and her when it's the male, not a mistress. What's the male version called?
Ooh, I don't know.
A mistress.
Is
What's the male version called?
there a male version? I didn't know.
You know what? That's some sexist ass shit, and I don't like saying sexist because I hate that shit. But is there a male version of a whore when you're married, or is it just for us chicks? Just curious. Are they? Oh, they're called misters.
A manho.
A manho. You got any mo words for me? F boy, sugar daddy? No, really. It's called a mistress. A fair partner. You know what I'm rewatching right now? I'm rewatching multiple shows at once. But I just started again The Handmaid's Tale, and I only thought of that because ADHD, and I'm thinking about the use mistress in it.
Well, I've actually never watched that, but it's one of my childhood best friend's favorite show, and so I should watch it. Like, actually, I think I started to watch like an episode, and I kind of fell out of it and never went back a long time ago. But not to interrupt this, but Jamie just put in the chat, Nicole Kessinger was seen recently for the first time.
What? Where?
Yeah, where? Wow.
Can you show me?
What do they call it?
Happen.
Oh, I know what when your man's in the army, they always say that Jody, like in the army, they'll say Jody's back home fucking your wife. Like that's what they call it, Jody. That's like to everybody, you know what I mean? That's like a common thing in the army to like push at people. Oh, Jody's gonna get your wife, boy, or whatever, you know. Like that.
That's crazy. And I'm just laughing because we still got MK up, ladies, man. Like, hey, you were supposed to get it 25 minutes ago, sir. And I want to watch The Tudors. I haven't seen The Tudors in so long.
She said criminality hasn't. No, I've never heard of it.
The Tudors it's King Henry and Anne Boleyn's story and all of the wives that he'd be like, behead them and marry another one.
Oh, wow,
it's really
that's
good.
cool.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Did you know also Chris Watts was moved to another prison? I think it's in Illinois. Yeah, because I looked it up. What's the Obsession has a short video on it. But and she shows like the prison records and stuff. He was moved out of Dodge Correctional into a lower security.
Oh, no way. This is NK. Hold on.
Wait.
I gotta show us this.
Yeah, I gotta see it. So walkie. Oh, Angie told me about this.
NK. Us SWAT Islanders are like,
oh, Amber, are you here?
Amber.
Oh my God, where's that at? Holy wow. She does not look. She's not looking her best.
Is this church?
Yeah. It looks like it. Oh my gosh.
She's having too many strawberry shortcakes.
That's her.
That's her for sure.
Yep.
I can even see the calic.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
No way.
I want to talk about this with him being moved too. We need to do some kind of Watts discussion because wow.
Here, I'll drop the link for the original video. There's a reserve seating. It looks like, hey, Zawakians, the buzz right now is obviously that NK has been found at a funeral. Oh, geez, that's horrible.
Oh my God.
And a video was taken, which I now have from a couple of insiders of mine, but I am asking my Zawokian community, do I make a video on this or just let it go? We're here to find, well, I guess we know what the answer is.
Of course you make a video on it. Hello, it's Nicole Kessinger. People been looking for her for freaking years.
Dude.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Skadoosh, that's Watt's girlfriend, and she's been in hiding. She actually changed her name and everything, and then they made the records where she changed her name like sealed, so you can't see, of course, what she changed it to, and she's not been seen for years. Shakto, you're right. She is gonna go into hiding again.
ATS, you see that sit? You see that
It's
sit?
her, Amber. Wait, are you still wanting to talk about do something, Amber? Let us know so that we can plan around it. But this is something to talk about. I cannot believe this. I have to go watch this. Wow.
Wow.
Oh my God,
Wow.
Melissa.
We figured she was close, Tell Smith, kind of like hiding right under your nose.
Wait, is that in Colorado?
They said she's still in Colorado. It's legit, ATS. I mean, you could tell it's legit. It's her.
Yeah, it looks just like her to me. Okay, Amber, thank you. But yeah, let me know what you want to do. We have confirmed it, Amber said.
She's walking in circles. It's looping.
Amber said this is not Colorado. Interesting.
Sorry.
That's how
Do you really think she's just walking in a circle? She's looping. The video's looping.
Oh, Amber, I cannot wait to talk to you about this. Wow. So she said that this is not Colorado.
It's kind of messed up to record at a funeral. I'm not going to lie. But if I knew I was sitting there with NK, I guess it depends on whose funeral, not Hugh. I shouldn't have dragged Hugh into this, but depending on whose funeral, maybe I'd be like, I don't know.
Just this second, it's not like they're showing like the casket or the whatever somebody, is saying up there or anything like that. So I think also some funerals are live streamed. So, I mean, hey, we don't know.
Yo, where's Shelly Miscavige? That's a great question, Seven Lilies.
Oh, you cut out for me.
Where's Shelly Miscavige?
I don't know that. It sounds really familiar, but I just don't know it, like, for sure.
Shelly Miscavige is the Scientologist leader's wife who has been completely, Leah Remedy has tried to bring attention. Where is she? Calling in wellness checks, and it's like, this huge thing for years and years and years and years and years.
Wow. Well, that's pretty scary, but
yeah. Watts Island again, just saying, listen, this is the first time we've had eyes on her since the alleged Just Larry fucking billboards, okay? And then before that, nothing.
Listen, I will go back to Watts Island for this one. Like, we need to have a discussion. I'm serious. With Chris being moved, I need to find out more about where he's at and the details of that. Maybe we can chat about it sometime soon. With this.
Yes, CB. Yeah, I would, because listen, that's always another one where I'm always going to be like, I don't think it's all as it may seem to be, but yes, I can guess who. Yes, I can. This is on, I forgot the name of the channel already, but
Zuwaki
original. I'll just write original video. NK video. I'm sure he'll explain a lot more in it.
Shakto, it is huge. Okay, Amber, thank you. She said more info in group chat. Oh, I can't wait to talk to you about it, Amber, and I miss you so much.
Yay, that's so crazy. All right. Well, tomorrow, what time did you want to go on tomorrow?
Do you want to do 8 again here?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine with me.
That works perfect because 6 would be hard because of school and stuff. It would just be easier to kind of get everything done, and then awesome.
Wait, isn't tomorrow Sunday?
Yeah, but I mean, like, getting ready for school.
I'm like, shit, don't skip me ahead like that.
No, we have a routine.
It's a school night.
Every night we do dinner at like 6:30 and they shower. Yeah, and then that's it. So we can do that and get it done.
Yeah, she's not an ugly girl at all, Natasha. I just don't like her. But they were so little. Like, I think she's evil. I think she's evil. Even if she didn't have physical hands involved, I think she knew exactly what she was doing. Maybe not to the literal extent of where it went, but she knew what she was doing. And I don't like that shit.
And guess what? She's out there living her life, having a baby and stuff. Oh,
Yeah. Wait,
that's
she had a
pretty
baby?
hard to swallow. That's what they were saying in chat. Yeah.
What?
I don't know. We'll talk to Amber, but that's what B Crumb said. Holly J put in chat, and I saw it in another comment. But think about that. That's hard to accept as a Watts Island, like, especially if you believe in your heart that there's more to it. And then now she gets to go out and just have children, and these sweet little precious girls
She
put
gets
in
to
two
have her-
separate tanks. 8-inch opening of these tanks. Like,
the smallest CC's width is larger than the opening. Let that sink in.
Yep.
So that's horrible. But it's crazy to actually have eyes on her for the first time.
yeah, it is.
Tell secure prison recently. Tell Smith, wow. We know you don't, Wolfie. You're boring with the straightforward.
I know that Dylan has tried to reach out to me a few more times, but I've just been so busy. I haven't even read them. I've just seen the email. So maybe if we do talk about it, I'll go read those and also see, because he's in Dodge Correctional right now. He got sent back there.
Oh, did
Yeah.
he?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. She was involved. Well, I don't want to say she was involved because it's so dangerous. And I feel like I've learned my lesson as far as stating things that when I can't be certain, but I believe she knew she was fucking around with shit she shouldn't have been fucking around with.
See, I just don't buy that she came by the next morning. A lot of people say the ping was her just driving by. For me, I think there's so much more to it. Even if she just helped in the aftermath, it seems like there was somebody at the house after everyone left. Yeah, and there's just so many things. But
you don't remember that phone call. You don't remember what you spoke about.
Yes, and you're sitting there and you're talking to the detective about your missing wife and kids, and have your other phone on listening to the conversation.
That's a big one.
Yes, it's weird. Thank you. I've thought that forever, but I would love to go back through and look at the actual evidence and separate it from all the social media stuff, because now that I've learned more about true crime and see how much fake stuff goes around, it makes me want to kind of look at it again.
I agree. And having her dad in there, come on. Yeah. Come on. But that's why you also have to be very careful. A manipulative woman, I'm telling you. And when I say that, Chris is 100% accountable. But manipulation, you can literally pull strings and never lift a finger. And it's very dangerous.
Yeah. Shakto says, Watts is where we started. And Tess said, please do it.
Yeah.
We already have this undertaking of Casey, and you're doing a lot. But I really think that we should consider looking at it again. Even if we make it I don't know, talk to Amber too and see what she's going.
I know. I loved Amber's series on the Watts. She has an amazing documentary on Watts, guys. If you aren't familiar with the case, definitely check out ATS. She has one of the best documentaries I've ever seen on it.
Yeah, and it has over 1 million. She got over 1 million views. It's probably at 2 million now. Who knows?
Yeah, she knows.
Well, thank you for having me. I love that. Even though it's really emotional and tough stuff, but I enjoy doing it with you so much, and you've made me laugh so much tonight. So, yeah, just thank you for having. Like I said, it's easy with you. So it's just easy. So, thank you.
I agree, you guys, and we'll be over on Allie's tomorrow to start the testimony of George Anthony at 8 p.m. Eastern. I'll be live shortly before to do Idaho. But I'm so excited, and it will probably end up breaking it up into 2 parts. Well, I guess we'll see, but
I think so.
Just prepare yourself, because now I know I need to be mentally prepared for heartbreak. I have to kind of get in my head and prepare to go into that. But I am so curious, because we're going to hear him speak for the first time after those opening statements, and he was just beaten. It's going to be a lot.
It's pretty crazy they picked him first after that,
I wonder if it's because you're not supposed to listen to prior testimony or be in the courtroom and to see that they're pulled up, but at the same time, they are family, and so I'm curious if that played a role, because we saw that with Al Stout too. He was
Yeah.
called first. Okay. And I'm curious. I'm going to look more into that to see if there's a reason they have to do it that way. But
And
Cindy,
Kay did Charles
yes,
Valley's sister.
yes,
Yeah.
you're right. Kay did. I know,
All right.
Natasha. It is.
Thank you so much, Melissa. I'll talk to you in a
Thank
little
you.
while. And thank you, chat. And don't forget to leave a like on your way out, because it's easier to say it on other people's channels. So do.
It is.
All right. Good night. Bye.
Good night. All right, guys. So I'll see you guys between like 6 and 7 tomorrow here for Idaho. And like I said, we'll be over on Allie's. Take a look at ATS News's. Did I hit you? Oh, no. Okay. No, I hit this. Take a look at ATS News's channel if you want to check out the Watts documentary. Very, very, very well done. So if you are a Patreon winner, I will send out the emails now. Congratulations. And I will talk to you guys all soon. Thank you, MK, for holding on to the very end. Good night.